Okay, this is the Unit 3 review packet, Topic 8A, Questions 1 and 2, Solving Systems by Using Substitution. So the easiest way to sub is actually if they're both y equals, because if y equals 2x squared minus 2x plus 3, and y equals x squared plus 5x minus 7, then y equals y. So this is actually equal to that. I can just set them equal. So I have 2x squared minus 2x plus 3 equals x squared plus 5x minus 7. What I'm doing is substituting. I'm substituting one of these for y, but I like to think of it as this, I set them equal. If I have y equals, I can just set my equations equal. And then I need to bring everything over to one side because I want one side of this to equal 0. So I'm going to move everything on the right to the left. So I'm going to do minus x squared minus 5x plus 7. It's all the opposite signs, right? X squared, the opposite is minus x squared. 5x, the opposite is minus 5x. Negative 7, the opposite is plus 7. And I'm going to write them under their like terms on the other side. So this side, these all equal 0. That's why I did it. This side, 2x squared minus x squared is x squared. Minus 2x minus 5x is minus 7x. And 3 plus 7 is 10, and it equals 0. Once it equals 0, you could use different methods to solve this. You could solve it by graphing. You could solve it by factoring. You could use the quadratic formula. I'm going to solve it by factoring because this is my easy kind of factoring. My a is 1, so I'm just looking for two numbers that multiply to be 10 and add up to be negative 7. So those two numbers are minus 5 and minus 2. So once I have those, I set my factors equal to 0. So x minus 5 equals 0, x minus 2 equals 0. That gives me x equals 5 and x equals 2. And of course, when we solve a system, we want them to be an xy coordinate. So we have the x's, we need the y's. So I'm going to have to plug these x's back in to find what the y values are. And I'm going to do that using the stow button. So I'm going to do 5 stow x, that stores the value of 5 for x. And then I can just type this in, 2x squared minus 2x plus 3. That tells me my y value is 43. So my point here is 5 comma 43. I'm going to have to do it again with this x. So 2 stow x. And again, I'm going to plug it in, 2x squared minus 2x plus 3 given. So this point is 2 comma 7. And by the way, a quick shortcut, I didn't do it this time, but if you ever want an equation again without retyping, if I were to go back and highlight it and push enter, it will actually retype my expression for me. So these are the 2 points where it crosses. So these are my 2 solutions. Let's look at number 2, same thing. I already have them both set up to be y equals, so I can set them equal to each other. So because they're both y equals, I can say that equals that. Again, I need to move everything to one side. So minus 2x plus 2, I'm doing the opposites here. The opposite of positive 2x is minus 2x. The opposite of negative 2 is positive 2. And I'm going to write them under their like terms. So now these are gone, that's why I did it. I have x squared minus 3x minus 4 equals 0. So again, I'm going to try to factor, because it's my easy kind. My a is 1. So this is just two numbers that multiply to be negative 4 and add up to be negative 3. So I have negative 4 times positive 1 are going to multiply to be negative 4 and add up to be negative 3. Once I have it factored, I set those factors equal to 0. And I solve. So I get 4 and negative 1. And again, at this point, I need to substitute back in because I need my y values. So I can substitute using the stow button like I did for the first one. But these are also pretty simple. If I sub it into the second equation, this is a pretty simple one to do. Right, if I do on this one, x equals 4, I have y equals 2 times 4 minus 2, or 8 minus 2, which is 6. So my point would be 4, 6. And the same thing here, y equals 2 times negative 1 minus 2, and that gives me negative 2 minus 2, which is negative 4, so my point would be negative 1, negative 4. Again, when you are substituting by hand, make sure that you are substituting in parentheses. So, quick refresher, solving by using substitution. You want them equal, you want them to be y equals. You want them solved for y. Once the equations are solved for y, you can just set them equal to each other. So solve, make sure they're solved for y, set them equal to each other. Solve for y, set them equal, and then get one side equal to 0. And once one side is equal to 0, you can graph, you can factor, you can use the quadratic formula, and make sure you get your x and your y values and write them as a point.